Please close your eyes, remembering God and the Masters. Let us offer our prayer. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahe Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May God protect us all. May we enjoy food together. May we meditate and pray together. May we attain wisdom through our study and discussion. May there be no conflict among us. May there be peace within and everywhere. Om. Amen. I bow to one God who is formless and omnipresent. I bow to all the saints and sages of all times and places. I bow to lineage of Kriya Yoga masters. I humbly bow to Gurudev and Guruji. And I bow to divinity present in each one of you. Om. Amen. Good evening and welcome to our series of lecture, Test of Character. So far we have discussed a couple of points to check whether we are strong in our character. Three qualities, three checks we have already done about the anger, about eavesdropping, and about being argumentative. Now today we are going to discuss the fourth one. Fourth test of character is about the quality of speech. Every day we have to speak. We cannot live without speaking. Only Guruji can stay for some time without speaking, for months together. But when we live in the society, when we are at work, at home, we have to communicate. We have to speak. How to speak? We should always speak sweet, loving, and affectionate words. We should never hurt others. So, the fourth test of our character is to ask this question: are you inclined to be hasty in speech? Are you inclined to be hasty in speech? Again, think about it and answer yourself. There is no need to reply. When we live in the society and talk to others, we should be very careful in choosing the words we speak. Gurudev used to say, think 100 times before you speak. How many times? 100 times. Very often we speak without thinking and then later on we repent. It is said, Guruji said a couple of times, you are master of your words until you speak. But once the words are out of your mouth, you are slave to them because you have to keep them. Before you speak, you are master because you are under control. But once you let the words go out of your mouth, then you are slave to them. Words are like arrows. Once shot, they cannot be taken back. Therefore, even in anger, fear, or humor, one should not speak a lie. Knowing the modesty in language, one should avoid filthy talk. Never utter any word to hurt others. For example, to tell a lame as lame is to humiliate. So never hurt others' feeling by your words. In the Holy Bible, Ecclesiastes 5th chapter, 2nd passage, it is written, do not be quick with your mouth, do not be hasty in your heart to utter anything before God. God is in heaven and you are on earth, so let your words be few. When it is said anything before God, so before God doesn't mean that God only, because God is omnipresent. So in front of anyone, when you're speaking, you should be careful and cautious in choosing the words. Gurudev gave us instruction to even all the teachers, he said, to speak clearly, distinctly, with pause in short sentence. Sometimes we use many words to explain and some words are not appropriate. It may hurt. We should always remember when we speak, there is one beautiful saying. We should remember people will forget what you said. Again, be very careful about this. People will forget what you said, what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. In the course of time, people may forget what you had said, what words you used, what you did to them, but they can never forget how you made them feel. Means using any harsh word, the feeling of pain or humiliation or insult within them cannot go so easily. That's why Gurudev said, be very careful with your words. What should we do when we speak to others? We should always think, putting ourselves in others' shoe, and then we should feel how it pinches. Then we will know how our harsh words can hurt others. And also, we should remember to treat people as we want to be treated. If we want to be treated nicely, then we should treat others nicely. So with the words, we have to be very careful. Our memory is short. We forget the words, but we remember the effect. Guruji has given some nice instructions about speaking. He says, speak when it is necessary. There's no need to speak all the time and everything. And speak what is necessary. Also, there is no need to say everything. Even if we know, sometimes it is better to keep quiet if it is hurting others. So speak when necessary and what is necessary. Second thing Guruji says is speak no lie. Speak truth. Don't tell any lie. Now, this is very tricky thing. Let me share with you one of my experience when I was staying in Balighai Puri Ashram as a brahmachari after my training was finished. One day I came down from meditation hall, which is on the first floor. When I came down, there is small cottage, which used to be Guruji's place to stay before he moved to other place in the backside of Guru Mandir. So in this small cottage, we call it Adi Kutir. So Guruji used to stay there early morning and then writing books and studying. So as soon as I came down after meditation, he called me and he asked me about one brahmachari in the ashram. He asked me, where is this brahmachari? At that time, his name was Dasharathi. So in between, when Guruji called in between, Dashrathi or this brahmachari had come to me and told that he was going to Puri for some purchasing. So I immediately told Guruji that this brahmachari has gone to Puri. Guruji looked at me and he said, why do you tell lie? I could not understand because Guruji had not seen that brahmachari. He's not aware of our conversation. But he immediately looked at me and told, why do you speak lie? I did not understand. So I was just looking at him with blank look. And he said, go and find out. So I thought, okay. I went to the office, which is little far. I went to the office and I found that this brahmachari was sitting there. And I asked him that you told me that you are going to Puri, the city, for some purchasing. You didn't go. And he said, no, just 2 minutes ago, I changed my mind and I'll go in the evening. So I came back to Guruji because when Guruji tells something, so you have to come back and report. So I said, I'm sorry, Baba, that brahmachari is still in the office and he has changed his mind. And then Guruji said, that is why I told you that you should tell the truth. Now here, Guruji is omnipresent. He's omniscient. He knows everything. He has not seen the brahmachari. He is not aware of our conversation, but still he knew. So he told me not to speak lie. Then the teaching was that day, he taught me that without verifying, do not speak. Means I heard it from someone, but I had not verified whether it is true or not. And I just relayed the information to Guruji. And in fact, it was a lie. It was not truth because he was still there. And I told that he is not in the ashram. He has gone out. So why he said? He said that in front of Guru, you should never speak lie. In front of Guru, in front of teacher, don't tell lie. So unknowingly, I spoke lie. And this is how we make many mistakes in our life without knowing. That's why Guruji says, speak no lie. Verify, be sure what you are saying is true, after that speak. Then third thing Guruji suggests is speak not to hurt others. Whenever you speak, your words should never hurt others. If any word which is going to hurt, better not to speak. Speak, not that create conflict and hatred in others. Sometimes, knowingly, unknowingly, we use some words about other people in their absence or even in presence of them, and it creates more hatred, more conflict. Suppose two people are talking about a third person, and in that, instigating more hatred or creating more conflict with the words is not good. It is the human nature what to do. Many people around me do this. They come and they complain to me about other people. That person does this person has done this, and they try to create more conflict and hatred. There is no need to speak about others. Speak what is necessary. Speak about the good things. Speak about sadhana, especially when you go to a teacher. Go with the attitude to ask some spiritual question about your sadhana, your practice, about scripture, about God. Going and telling something which is unnecessary, creating hatred, creating conflict within your mind, and even in the teachers, people try not to do that. So Next is Guruji says, don't give words that you cannot keep. This is again, when I was in India, I found it very common with many people. You tell something, they will immediately give the words. Yes, it will be done. Once you give your words, you have to keep it. If you cannot keep your words, better not to give. That's why it is said that be lazy in giving words or be lazy in giving promise, but be quick to keep it. Once you promise, means once you give words, you have to keep it, you have to follow that. Otherwise, you become a liar. Then try to do what you have promised. You might know the story from Kathopanishad that sage Vajashrava, he performed a huge fire ceremony in which he had to give everything. And he said, I will give everything, but still he kept some good cows for himself and his son. And all the other cows which were not giving any more milk, they were not of any use, he was donating them. So if you promise that you will give something, then you have to give it. Otherwise, the words will remain and you have to come back in another life to fulfill your promise. So we should be careful. Don't be hasty. So when you use any word, think before that. Otherwise, not to give the word. So ask yourself, are you hasty in using, are you hasty in your speech? Sometimes we also speak so fast that others cannot understand. That's why Gurudev gave instruction, speak clearly, distinctly. However, as a Kriyavan, we know how to control our speech, how to control our tongue. We know the practice of Khechari Mudra. So if you practice Khechari Mudra, and you can practice it all the time except when you are eating and when you are speaking something necessary. All the time you can practice Khechari. It will give better control over your speech, over your thoughts, and you can avoid many unpleasant situations. If we practice watching our breath, that is also good. If we practice watching the breath, we become aware of our thoughts, because breath and mind, they are correlated. So if we are watching the breath, we are aware of the breath. When we are aware of the breath, we are aware of our mind. That means we are aware of every single thought arising in the mind. And thoughts are transformed into action, and action brings result in the form of joy or sorrow. So before a thought is manifested in the form of words, we can filter it and stop it if it is not a good thought. So try, ask yourself, are you hasty in speech? If yes, practice Khechari Mudra, watch your breath. Look, for many problems, the solution is very simple and same. Now we'll come to the next point. Next is, this is also very common. When we live with others, it is very common that we commit mistakes. Everybody commits mistake, and when we commit mistake, we learn from those mistakes. So now, to test your character, ask yourself the next question: do you laugh at the mistakes of others? If yes, then that is a fault in character and we have to rectify it. Do we really laugh at the mistakes of others? We should not, because everybody is a human. It is said to err is human and forgive is divine. So it happens in our families that sometimes we honor and treat our guests very well, but when they leave, we start gossiping about them and talk about their mistakes. Gurudev used to say, mistake is not for mistake, but for correction. When we commit a mistake, It is not to repeat, but from that we correct ourselves. Another good, very nice interpretation Gurudev has given, mistake. So he says, split it in two words, miss and take. Miss means you miss something, and take means you are receiving. So anything you take by missing something, that is mistake. So what is interpretation? He said, if you miss God and take something, something is breath. If you miss God and take breath, it is a mistake. So in every breath, remember God. If you forget, you are missing God. And breathing without remembering God is a mistake. There's a beautiful story from Mahabharata about laughing at others, how it creates problem. When Pandavas, the 5 righteous brothers, they were told that they cannot stay in Hastinapur. So the kingdom was divided, and the 5 Pandava brothers were given a barren land. They went there and they put their best effort and created a beautiful palace with the help of the celestial architect. His name is Maya. So Maya created this, constructed this beautiful palace, and it was full of some illusions. For example, at some place while walking, you see there is water, but there is no water. And at some place, it looks like flat uh, floor, but there is some water. So it was Maya, illusion. And during the inauguration ceremony, all the 100 Kaurava brothers were also invited. And one day during this ceremony, the eldest of Kauravas, Duryodhana, he was walking in the palace to see the beauty. And at one place, he saw there was some water. So he lifted his clothes so that it will not be wet. And he tried to enter the water, and suddenly he found that it was a plain floor. There was no water. He walked a little bit more, and then he found at one place it looked like completely plain, and he just walked and he fell into the water. In both the incidents, the wife of 5 Pandava brothers, Draupadi, she was watching, and when she looked at this incident, what Duryodhan was doing, she started laughing. It was natural but inappropriate. So she laughed, and at the same time, she said, the son of blind will remain blind. Because Duryodhana's father, King Dhritarashtra, was blind king. So commenting that son of a blind will remain blind and laughing at him, it was such a bad incident that Duryodhan became so upset. And this laughing at mistake of Duryodhana, which was unknowingly, it became a major cause of Battle of Mahabharata. So this is a best example not to laugh at the mistake of others. Do you think that you cannot commit mistake? We all commit. So why to laugh at that? We should be compassionate. We should be having better understanding. There is a beautiful quote about laughing. Laughing at our own mistakes can lengthen our life. It increases our life if we laugh at our mistakes, because from that we learn. Laughing at someone else's mistake can shorten the life. So be careful. Laugh, but laugh at your own mistake, not to laugh at the mistake of others. Remember, when we see mistakes in others, when we find fault in others, in truth, it is our mistakes which is reflected in other person. We have fault, and those faults are reflected in others when we see mistakes in others. Ma Sharada Mani said that if you want to be happy, then don't find fault in others. If you remember, Paramahansa Yoganandaji wrote a letter to Gurudev, and that is in our book, Kriya Yoga book. In that letter, he's writing, Paramahansa Yoganandaji is writing to Gurudev. And remember, both Paramahansa Yoganandaji and our Gurudev, both are realized masters. They have attained Samadhi. And even then, Paramahansa Yoganandaji is writing, do not seek fault in others. Can you imagine that at that level of consciousness, when person is in Samadhi state or maintaining it, can he see fault in others? But there is possibility. That's why he's cautioning. So what to talk about other hours? We are so great that we cannot commit mistake. Do you think like that? No. So be careful. If you can laugh at your own mistakes, you are a great person. But laughing at others' mistake is a flaw in character. Let's come to the next question. Next question is about criticism, which is also very common. We criticize others, we also get criticism from others. So ask yourself, do you mind being criticized? People will criticize whatever you do. If you see the life of Lord Rama, life of Lord Krishna, life of Jesus, life of Buddha, everybody is criticized because in the society, there will always be someone who will be unhappy, who will be upset, who will always criticize. So, great people do not mind. Now, as a Kriyavan, as a spiritual seeker, you have to ask yourself, if someone criticizes you, do you mind it? Ask and answer yourself. So, let's contemplate about this criticism. It is said that as long as you accept criticism, it is yours. If you don't accept, it doesn't matter. But as long as you accept criticism, it is yours. Ignore the criticism if it is not for a good purpose, if it is not positive. Always tune in to what the person wants to convey. Whenever a person is criticizing, you should tune in to what the person wants to convey, not how he or she said. We always put our attention on how it is said, why it is said, but we should look at what the person wants to convey. Maybe there is some message, maybe there is something we need to improve in our personality, in our behavior, in our action. That's why there is criticism. Positive criticism is for our improvement, and negative criticism is to look others down. It's a different. Both are different. Positive criticism is good. Many times, Guruji has rectified my mistakes. When I spoke some word wrong, or when I told something which was irrelevant to some particular topic, later on, he came to my room and he said that, did you told this story today? So there is a positive criticism that how you can correlate this quality with this story. So then I realized, I contemplated and I said, I'm sorry, yes, this is right. And I improved. So positive criticism is good for our improvement. But people, when they do criticism in a negative way, it is to look others down, to pull others down, to hurt others, to humiliate others, which is not a good sign. Don't let criticism bother you. It will help you to improve tomorrow. It gives us an opportunity to introspect and eliminate our weaknesses. Those who are great person ask them, they always accept criticism in a positive way and introspect, and then they move forward. I'll tell you a very beautiful quote about this criticism. Look, we always want people should appreciate us, and we don't want criticism. So there's this beautiful quote: compliments or appreciation and criticism, both will be there, whether you are a great person or you are ordinary person. So accept both compliments and criticism. It takes both sun and rain for a flower to grow. So if you consider that you are a flower, you need both. If there is only compliment, if there is only appreciation and praise, many of your traits or flaws cannot be eliminated. So we also need criticism from others in a positive way. So take it in a positive sense. Why people told. So there must be something I need to improve upon. This should be the attitude instead of blaming and complaining and creating conflict with others. So criticism is good if you want to improve. It is usual that we expect appreciation and we do not want to entertain criticism. It is comparatively easy to tolerate this slander bravely because we don't like it. If there's criticism, we don't like it, so we try to face it bravely. Means we don't welcome it. Censure is such a feeling that nobody expects, whether we protest or tolerate it. It is proven that we want praise and flattery from the core of our heart. It is more difficult to face the flood of praise because we adore them. Since practice of spiritual discipline makes it easy to face flood of criticism, criticism seems the poisonous to us because we desire for praise and appreciation. So, as a spiritual seeker, there are two ways to avoid any situation developing ego from our appreciation or praise. First, always keep in mind that the person who is praising you is certainly having some selfish motive. Otherwise, he will not praise you, and such a selfish person can easily ditch you anytime. Because there must be some selfish motive, person is praising unnecessary. In a courteous manner, it is fine, we appreciate for everything. But if somebody is praising without any valid reason, so be careful, that person may be having some selfish motive. Criticism, second thing to remember, criticism result good in due course of time. It not only imparts mental peace, but also gives us opportunity to introspect and be free from our own mistakes and weaknesses. Gurudev used to say, chastisement produces good result. And Ma Sharada Mani, she used to say, Je sahive se rahive. One who tolerates will sustain. So from today, we need to reverse this old measurement of appreciation and criticism. We should ask for tax from the person who is appreciating you without genuine reason, and we should pay tax to the person who is criticizing us for taking so much pain. Therefore, one who praises you is indebted to you, and you are grateful to the people who criticize because they are good. It is said, let people condemn you. Make people free from your side. Whether they condemn or they appreciate, in whichever way they agree. If you make everyone free, you will get freedom. A man may be trapped in praise, but our mistakes are destroyed in criticism. When somebody criticizes, so our mistakes are destroyed. If someone gives false condemnation, remain silent. Don't justify. If someone asks, then tell the truth. But from your own side, don't try to justify everything. There is no need to say anything without people asking for that. Giving justification without asking means clarifying the truth is disrespect to the truth. You might have heard about a great saint in the medieval times, Saint Kabir. He wrote in a couplet. I studied this couplet when I was in school at grade 7 in our Hindi class. It says, निंदक नियरे राखिए आंगन कुटी छबाए बिन पानी साबुन बिना निर्मल करे सुभाए निंदक नियरे राखिए आंगन कुटी छबाए बिन पानी साबुन बिना निर्मल करे सुभाए. Keep the critic close to you. You know, it is very unusual teaching, but very useful. We want to go away from the people who are criticizing. But Sant Kabir is telling, keep your critic close to you. Give him shelter in your courtyard. Because without soap and water, he cleanses your character. Subhai. Subhai means character, swabhav, your nature. So in our nature, we have many mistakes, we have many flaws. So those who are always criticizing, they help us to clean our character, clean our nature without using soap and water. They purify our nature without using soap and water by providing opportunity to analyze self and be free from negatives. The question comes that if we come across people who are always criticizing us, so how to deal with them? There are some points we can think about it. If we find people are always criticizing for good or for no reason, doesn't matter. So one thing to remember, there are a couple of points we can think about it. First, if people criticize, do not take it personally. Sometimes we take things so personally and then we become upset and we destroy our own peace of mind. So don't take it personally. If somebody said something, it's okay. Let us analyze, find the truth, and if it is right, we'll apply, we'll change our nature, we'll correct our behavior. But don't take it personally that why he said to me only. Second thing, objectify the comments. Don't be subjective, just objectify that what is the object behind it when it is commented or you're criticized. Third is take it as honest feedback. You know, when people criticize, it is like feedback also. It happened before last year. One of our resident monk, one day, one night, he was, before going to sleep, he said, I have to talk to you. I said, yes, you're welcome. Then he took several hours and he said, you did this, you did that, you did. So I had to listen at least 3.5 hours very silently. And I apologized. I asked for apology that I said, unknowingly, if I hurt you, unintentionally, if I hurt you with words, with my actions, please forgive me. But it was never my intention and I had never thought about it, what you're saying. But I gave him opportunity to completely download his burden so that he could be free from all these negativities. So I just listened to him. And I took as an honest feedback. And then I found that there was something which was bothering him. So I corrected in my own behavior. So when people criticize, take it as honest feedback. It helps us to grow. Fourth thing, address your discomfort within. Suppose if you feel discomfort, don't go outside and tell everybody that this is happening, this person is telling like this. Address it within. So analyze yourself instead of discussing this criticism with everybody. It is not good. Fifth point, do not ask for opinions if you cannot take it. When we live together, very often we ask for suggestions, we ask for opinion of others. And when people express their views, we cannot accept. We think that they are criticizing us. So if you ask for opinions, then take it. And if you cannot take it, don't ask for views or opinions or suggestions from others. Once it happened, I was in a program in 2006. Someone asked me, a disciple asked me for some suggestion. I was very new, maybe just 2 months old in West. So according to my understanding, I gave my suggestions. And after that, this person was so upset, couldn't eat, constantly crying. So I was scared. Then I didn't know that how this person got hurt, but I went immediately, asked for apology. But it happens. So if you cannot take in the opinions of others, then don't ask for that. Otherwise, the criticism will bother you. Then if still people go on criticizing you, they ignore the criticism. If it is negative criticism, ignore it. Don't let it bother you. Another thing, that if somebody is criticizing you or somebody is very critical, show them kindness. Person may be ignorant, person may not know the truth, or it is the problem with the person for any reason. We should be kind enough. It's okay, we'll tolerate it. And the best thing, if you cannot do anything, then just avoid them. Don't come in contact too much so that you will be bothered again and again. So this is the way we can deal with some critical people. Whether you are at home, whether you are in organization, whether you are in workplace, you will find someone, some character of this kind. And remember, you should not be among them. You should not be criticizing others. However, if the criticism bothers you, then you need to introspect that why somebody criticized you. If it is right, then we have to rectify our mistakes. If it is not right, then just ignore it. So remember this point. Do you mind being criticized? And remember this teaching of Sant Kabir, निंदक नीरे राखिए आंगन कुटी छबाए बिन पानी बिन साबना निर्मल करे सुभाए. I think it's time for us. So we'll stop our discussion, and in the next class we'll continue discussing more points, more teachings to test our character. By the time we had to analyze, introspect, self-analysis. Now it's time to meditate. So we'll have a short general meditation now. Please close your eyes. Keep your spine straight. Fix your attention in between the eyebrows. To begin with, we will chant Mahamrityunjay mantra 3 times because the death toll due to COVID has increased to 4,000 a day. Praying for them who are suffering or who have departed. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityurmukshiyamamritat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityurmukshiyamamritat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityurmukshiyamamritat. Be completely relaxed. Withdraw your attention from the external world. Body is relaxed. If the breath is restless, the mind is also restless. To make our mind more peaceful and calm, we should regulate the breath. So let us begin with just watching the breath. This is called breath awareness. We all are breathing. Let us watch. In the beginning, our gross breath moving from the nostrils, going to the lungs, again coming out. So feel this movement. With gentle friction, you will experience the breath becomes slow and rhythmic. Observe every single breath. Now, turn your attention from the gross breath to subtle breath. From bottom of the spine to top of the head, inside the spinal canal. With this movement of up and down, just feel presence of divine in every breath. When you become conscious of breath, you become conscious of every thought in the mind. Now, along with the breath, we will regulate our pranic energy, which is associated with the breath, practicing deep breathing. As per your capacity, inhale and exhale slow, long, and deep from bottom to top, top to bottom, and feel movement of prana. Inhale from bottom to top, peace. Exhale, love. Inhale, peace. Exhale, love. Inhale, peace. Exhale, love. Inhale, love. Exhale, peace. Inhale, love. Exhale, peace. Inhale, love. Exhale, peace. Inhale, peace. Exhale, love. Inhale, peace. Exhale, love. Inhale, peace. Exhale, love. Every inhalation, peace within. In each exhalation, divine love. Normal conscious breath. Breath becomes very feeble, slow, as if you are not breathing. Now remain inside the cranium, inner space. No need to concentrate anywhere, just in the formless space. Meditate in silence. absolute silence. State of bliss and peace. Your body is completely peaceful, still, mind is calm. Gently bring your attention in between the eyebrows, soul center. Feel love within, peace all around you. We'll finish the class with prayer. ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः. May all become happy and healthy, loving, noble and compassionate. May there be no conflict among us. May there be no sorrow or suffering. May there be more love, peace, and harmony among us and in this entire creation. Om. Amen. Maintain this peace within and manifest this peace everywhere around you. Open the eyes. So, what we learned today, contemplate on this. Do you mind being criticized? Do you laugh at the mistakes of others? And are you hasty in your speech? Meditate nicely. Remember God in every breath. Thank you all. See you on next Thursday. Jai Guru. I bow to God within you all.